Welcome to episode 114 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
This is Chew on This Reviews 2017. This is what you've all been waiting for.
Yes, this is what you've been waiting for all year, for us to tell you which movies we thought were good.
You might be like, I don't agree with you at all.
Yeah, I think like the Desperate Housewives get better anticipation than we do for our shit.
No doubt. So before we get to the good stuff, I just want to remind everybody out there that we are on patreon.com/chew on this podcast. And there you could sponsor us for as little as $1 a month. And we have some gifts and things that we can give you and different tiers. So just depending upon what you want to sponsor us for, which you can change at any given time, we'll give you cool rewards.
And also West Coast Wawa, it's getting cold here in California where we are anyway. It's like 40 degrees out. This is like almost New Jersey winter weather. So, it would be good as a nice pumpkin spice latte from Wawa would be nice. They just had like their own like dollar deal or buy one, get one. And again, you can order from their mobile app. So please, Wawa, listen to one of these and please pay attention that we want you out here in California. Yeah, once again, that's hashtag West Coast Wawa.
Yeah, they just opened in Florida and they opened one in Washington, D.C. or something like that. Just like that's going further away. It's like, anyway.
It's not helping us right now.
No.
All right, so you know what? I got to bring up my 2017 original list.
Yes.
Let's see. So why don't you read your 2017 list?
I'm going to read my 2017 list, and then I think we should do something a little different this time as far as like reading our end of the year list. We should just do it one at a time and build up some suspense because I usually just blurt it all out. So this is okay. So at January of this year, this was my most anticipated list, and this is from number 10 all the way to number 1. So number 10, I had Blade Runner 2049. Number 9, I had Power Rangers. Number 8, I had War for the Planet of the Apes. Number 7, I had Logan. Number 6, I had Thor Ragnarok. Number 5, I had Beauty and the Beast. Number 4 was Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 3, Lego Batman Movie. What the fuck, seriously. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And number 1, I had Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Okay, so do I go over my 2017 list? Or?
Now you go over yours.
Okay, so I had Logan, Justice League, Power Rangers. That's like your Lego, but Batman was a little bit better than Power Rangers. Then I had Wonder Woman, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Beauty and the Beast, War for the Planet of the Apes, Spider-Man Homecoming, and number 1 was The Last Jedi.
So Spider-Man Homecoming was 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you had Guardians was like number 3?
Guardians was... let's see.
Then you had Beauty and the Beast, you had Thor Ragnarok in there. Okay. So our lists were they were slightly different. Okay. This is our end of the year review where we might change our list around. We might lose some of those movies. We might gain some movies. This year was quite different than last year. Last year, I really didn't move around that much. This year, I did quite a bit, actually. And these are movies that we watched during the year. We can't just like arbitrarily just put movies up. So these are movies we actually watched. And
not necessarily reviewed them.
Right, and not necessarily reviewed. Correct. Because one of the ones on here, I think, in fact, my number 10 is the only one that we did not review.
I've got more than that.
And that would be A Monster Calls.
That's your number 10?
That's my number 10. Okay. Did you end up you watched that movie, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I did end up watching it. I liked it. That actually that was right outside my top 10.
Okay.
Like I had a bunch of outsiders or that were insiders then outsiders. moved them all out, and I didn't really get to reorder a lot of The Outsiders, but Monster Calls was very high up there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that film. It came out, I think it came out like in January, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was a long time ago because I almost completely forgot about that movie.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. It was interesting to see the contrast in Felicity Jones because we had just saw her in Rogue One a few weeks earlier.
Oh, she's so good in that.
Yeah, and then oh my god, yeah, it was a lot of tears. It was a good flick though. I liked, except they really need to get someone other than Liam Neeson to voice the characters because it's like oh, it's Liam Neeson. Well, I mean, he had a slightly different voice in it, but so what was your number 10?
So I this whole entire list was like we were trying to a little background on this list. I was like, I don't know if I like any of these movies that I have on my list really. And I was like, there's a lot of movies that we didn't even review, and you're like, we can't do that. We didn't review it on the show. I'm like, well, says who?
It's our rules.
It's our rules.
We don't
can
have
fucking
corporate.
make shit up as it goes along. Yeah, we are the corporate.
We are corporate. We don't have WB or somebody going like, you can't do that. We need to make Batman kill people. Come on.
So there's movies on this list that we didn't review, and I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway because nobody can tell me no.
Okay, so I'm curious now your list because
Right,
that was
so
just the only one for me.
I have three. So
wow,
my
okay.
number 10 is actually tied. As the first ever since last year. The only time we ever did it.
You're like, again, we could do that.
Yeah, we could do it. As I was doing this, I was like, fuck that. If I can put movies on here that we didn't review, I can make a tie. So I have a tie.
So you have 11 movies on there then.
Yes, technically,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay, so number 10 for me was a tie between Guardians 2 and Jumanji 2, which just opened.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why Guardians is so low on this list, and I think I had it like in the middle for last year. The reason why I have it, I think I have it 5 or 6 last year, or in the beginning of this year. The reason why I have it so low is all the issues that we had with it. The ending, Peter Quill and the father thing wasn't really too great, and the overall. And I hated the Blob. I hate Blob, big light, world-ending like special effects. I hate that. And so that's why it's so low. But Jumanji 2, I just watched. I won't give any spoilers,
Right,
but
because I haven't seen it yet.
right. But I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie a lot. It was one of my outsiders in the beginning of the year, but this movie was fun. The Rock again, you just put him in something good. You know, I don't know about Rampage next year, but Jumanji was perfect for him. He was really great in it. Karen Gillan, I think her name is.
Yep.
Who was also ironically in Guardians. She's in it. She's great. She's absolutely stunning in this movie. Kevin Hart was good. That's all I'll say about it because I don't want to take up too much time. But it was good enough to break my top 10 of all the movies that I saw.
That's crazy. Now you're making me I really want to go see that movie now. Because I was just kind of like, I was kind of teetering on it, but now I'll have to.
It has a nice, not over the top, not in your face homage to Robin Williams' character in it.
Okay, cool. All right.
So let me go next.
Go ahead.
You went to, okay, so my number 9 is another one that we didn't review, and I just saw it today. Was The Shape of Water.
Oh wow!
This movie is gorgeous, and when I say gorgeous, it just captures the time. But there's things that I won't spoil it again because you haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
But there's things in this movie that he does that's like, oh my God, this guy is on top of his game. There's just shit that just hits you out of nowhere when there's this one scene towards the end of the movie. I won't say it. You'll know it when you see it. It just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh my God, this is it's weird, it's quirky, but it's fucking beautiful.
I love Guillermo del Toro, man.
Yeah, I do too.
Dude.
So all the things that like in Pan's Labyrinth that I loved, but there was a few things that I really didn't like at all. Mm-hmm. This movie hits on everything that you think you would want to see in the trailer.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
From the trailer, you're like, oh, this looks. You ever see like a trailer and you're like, oh man, if they hit all the notes in this movie, this fucking movie is going to be phenomenal. Well, they do that in this movie.
Sweet. Okay.
So
He's
it wasn't
storyteller. He's such a good
it's really good. It's really gorgeous. Because it came out of nowhere, I have it at number 9. You know, the Chewies are right around the corner, so I might rethink, like, you know, I basically just made this list not for best movie of the year. I made this list because of the most like enjoyment out of all these movies
Right.
that I got.
Right.
And Shape of Water was good enough, even just as today, to break in the top 10.
Right on. Number 9. Actually, I guess I do have two movies that we haven't reviewed. Number 9, I have Coco.
Okay.
That movie really was not on my radar whatsoever because the trailer.
Should have known it's Pixar.
Yeah, but the trailer to me I had no interest in watching that movie. And plus, they did a Day of the Dead movie like a year or two ago with Channing Tatum that I heard was awful. So I was like, well, I don't know. This isn't really speaking to me right now. But I watched it, and I got to tell you, especially toward the end, I mean, they got me. They totally got me.
Oh my god! I watched this after you did, and this I had it. I think I had it on my list, or it's actually like right outside my list. I had it, and yeah, it was right outside my list. And I love this movie. It made me so happy to see something like this, where like somebody else's culture was like embraced in this, and that bridge that was in that movie.
Yes.
The bridge, that bridge was gorgeous.
Yeah,
like,
that
just
was
seeing it on the big
amazing.
screen. This movie is like Pixar does it again with the every little detail in this movie is amazing. The story is really good too, and it caught me by surprise. We can actually spoil this movie.
Yeah, I
because
guess we can.
We've both seen it. The twist in the end, I went to go see it with my daughter, and there was all parents and kids there, and I figured it out way before. I think I figured it out the second they hit the water when they were both banished by the main guy, the bad guy.
Yeah.
The second they hit the water, I was like, or was it before that? I think it was when he played guitar. When you found out that he could play guitar,
Right. You're like,
and
oh, that's
sing.
his dad. Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
I said, I was like, and I like breathed really heavy, and my daughter's like, "Daddy, what's wrong?" Like thinking like I was choking on popcorn or some shit.
Oh, it's the big one.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this movie. So you've already mentioned it, so I'm just gonna spoil part of my list. I have this at number 3.
Okay.
So let's
Wow,
just do
that's
that.
Really high. That's
if we
really,
do it,
really high.
yeah, it's just something about these movies and it made me sad that there's like no like Chinese or Asian one out there right now. I know they're doing a live action Mulan, but I want like Pixar to take something from like my culture and do it like they did it here, because this movie is
not Kung Fu Panda.
right. Yeah, that has no culture whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, the song is from the '70s, Kung Fu Fighting.
Yeah.
Like that's not from me. But that's what I was thinking about when I was watching Coco. I was like, wow, I really want somebody to do something as gorgeous as this and as respectful as this is, because the movie was just, I loved it. I loved both twist endings. This movie is so good. That's why I have it so high. Number 3.
No, that's really good. That's really, really high. But it's good. I mean, I think it deserves that.
There's a reason why, and you'll see as we go through our list. So,
Number
so you said you had number 9, right? So you go
Yeah.
to number 8.
So number 8, I have Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, mostly because, I mean, even though I did like it and I did have a few parts in it where I thoroughly enjoyed it, for the most part, I was pretty disappointed in that movie. And I've seen it twice, so I saw it a second time since we recorded, and during that viewing, I was a little more like, kind of really paying attention to a lot of the stuff. And there were so many times where I was like, why did they go this route? If they did this, it would have been, oh my God, it would have been over the top awesome. It's like, it's almost as if every time I thought that they would do something completely different, only to be different. And there's a few parts where I'm like, okay, being different makes sense here. Like, that's actually kind of cool. But for the most part, I was like, oh my God, if they just would have done this thing, it would have been so fucking cool.
Right.
So just for that, I put it, I mean, it was number 1 on my list at the beginning
Mine
of this
too.
year.
Yeah,
And
mine too.
it dropped drastically. I mean, almost dropped out of I was like, do I really need to kick this thing out of the top 10? I'm like, no, because I did enjoy parts of it. So
Yeah.
I pulled
And
it.
it's Star Wars.
And it's Star Wars, so I pulled it back in.
So I have that at number 7. So we just flipped the position. So I have
Okay.
it number 7.
Okay.
Same thing, same issues. I've only seen it once. I haven't actually gone down and forked over the extra cash to see it twice. Not that I don't want to. I definitely want to. I feel like I need time away from it, like it's like an ex-girlfriend or something. Like I can't. I don't want to see you right now. Because for like a day or two after this movie, I was like somewhat depressed. I was like down.
Yeah.
And you know, I still stand by our review. I think I like certain things that they did a little bit better, but the biggest gripes I still have are you know, if you want to be different, that's great. You want to do it for a new generation, that's fine. But just give my Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
like the kick-ass fucking Jedi Master moment that I've never gotten before. I don't want to see like a movie that you guys go back and do a single movie and then just have like Luke Skywalker Walker be badass for 30 seconds at the end of the movie like they did with Darth Vader.
Pretty
Like
much.
I wanted this Luke Skywalker. Like I wanted my Mark Hamill to do it. I don't want to CG Luke Skywalker later. I don't want the stunt double and shit. I wanted to see my Luke stand down against the Empire.
Yeah.
In this,
Well,
so
we're not going to get that. We
and
might
like
we might get Force Ghost.
yeah, more than
Luke.
likely.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we will be talking because I still haven't stopped talking about this movie to you. Like I'll text something to you like
Right.
every day since then. So
Right.
so I have it at number 7. My number 8 was Dunkirk.
Okay.
So I flipped these back and forth twice, 7 and 8, 8 and 7 for Star Wars and Dunkirk. And the reason why I had Dunkirk outside of it just because it wasn't Star Wars and it wasn't something I really wanted to see again. It's just like one of those movies where I was like, wow, that was pretty good. Like The Passion of the Christ, I saw it once. I was like, oh, that's really good. I just saw like an artsy snuff film, right? But I was like, I told everybody they should at least try and see it once. And like it was so disturbing and so gorgeous at the same time, that movie, where I was like, you know what? Even if there was like a real Jesus Christ and this man believed he died for your sins and he wasn't the Son of God, I was like, this guy still went through some fucking shit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
so I just, and the emotions that they have in this of like him not wanting to be the Son of God, which was like great. It was like, it was really good drama. Anyway,
Right.
point being is I never wanted to see that movie again. One was enough for me. Dunkirk, not on the same level because like if it's on HBO or something, I'll actually watch it.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't have any urge to see it again like right away.
Right.
But it's a really good movie. But again, that was the reason why I had them flipped. I have Dunkirk at 8, Star Wars at 7. So anyway, so my numbers. Do you have anything to say about Dunkirk before I go on to 6?
Well, I have Dunkirk at 6.
Okay.
And I have Guardians at 7. I know you did Guardians at 10. Was that
10 tied with Jumanji, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have Guardians ahead of Episode 8 because I had a fucking good time with Guardians, all the way except till the very, very end with the damn blob and the over the top action with Kurt Russell and all that other shit.
Right.
But because Marvel always has kind of trouble sticking the landing a lot of the time. So, but no, I really I put Dunkirk ahead of those because the filmmaking was just, it was something I've never seen before because of the 3 different timelines, and it was gorgeous and it wasn't all CGI'd. A lot of it was practical effects. And just Christopher Nolan is just so fucking. I mean, I can't think of one movie that I didn't like of his. Even Insomnia, which is probably his my least favorite, is still pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's mine too. Yeah, it's still good.
So yeah. So anyway, so far I've got Monster Calls, Coco, Episode 8, Guardians, and Dunkirk. So that brings us to number what?
6.
You're
for
number
me.
6.
6.
Yeah.
My 6. So review mine is 10. I have Guardians and Jumanji. Then The Shape of Water, Dunkirk, Episode 8, and then my number 6 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay.
And like you already know my number 3. So once you see the rest of the list, you'll see why I have Spider-Man right outside the top 5.
I have number 5 for Spider-Man.
Okay, so we're pretty close on that.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man for me at number 6. It met my expectations for a Spider-Man that I read in the comic books, a teenager. Like he's like 17. He's like a year older than he would be in the movie, but still, that's way better than like 25 or 26. Like I still get a kick out of that part in Spider-Man 2 when that guy in the subway's like, he looks just like my kid. I'm like, your kid's fucking. Why would you call your kid 25? You look like 32. You're 30. You look like you're 30. Would you get the chick pregnant at 6? Like, there's no fucking way that's your fucking kid. So but I still loved like that. I like the Brooklyn accent, or the Queens accent. I love
Did he? He didn't. He didn't cry as much
Ant-Man.
as he didn't cry as much as
No,
Toby.
no, 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 no.
He did
no,
get
definitely
glassy
not.
eyed a few times though, but
He did, but not like Toby Maguire ugly cries really bad.
yeah, he does.
And like even in the most dramatic moment with Spider-Man 2, which is still a good film, even though I make fun of that part. The anytime he cries in the middle of like the emotion of the scene, it takes me right out of it because I want to laugh at him.
Quit being a
'Cause he
pussy, Spider-Man.
he's got such an ugly cry face, it just fucking ruins the whole scene.
Like someone's squishing his nuts or something. And he's just
Yeah,
like,
it would be
"Ah."
better. That face is probably better than this cry face. But anyway, so
Squishy balls face.
yes, squishy ball face, Toby Maguire. Can you imagine directing Toby Maguire?
You're like,
You're
okay.
doing like your mom just died. Give me the squishy ball face.
Do you need to step on it? Do you need me to
Yeah,
step
yeah.
on it?
So Spider-Man: Homecoming.
All right.
I liked Michael Keaton. There was a lot of things I that going back on it, you're just like, holy shit. There's some parts of the movie that just aren't good.
Right.
But because the acting and the quality of the acting is so good, and this is a Spider-Man that we finally get, I have it at number 6.
Okay.
So you go to number 5.
I have it. I have Spider-Man at number 5, and I agree with everything you just said. The thing I think that we both also agreed upon is that the whole Tony Stark thing and the
Yes.
whole upgraded suit was just probably a little too much.
Didn't
but
want it or didn't need it. It was just a way. I don't know why they would write
to
him
connect
into this.
it. I don't know to connect it all
Because
up.
you could have done a whole flashback alone without Tony Stark in it.
Right.
And then Civil War would have been in front of Spider-Man: Homecoming. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he gets recruited right at the end of Homecoming. From
Yeah,
Tony
that
Stark.
would have made way more sense to do it. That way.
So your number 5 is Spider-Man. Your number 6 was
Dunkirk. Yep.
Right. Okay. So my number 5 is It.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That didn't even.
I have it at
that didn't
number
even
5.
Register. That didn't even register for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I again, this is based on like how much I enjoyed being in the theater and like how much fun I had during the movies, and it was as terrifying as a lot of it was for me. And I know you're into horror way more than I am, so I'm a big pussy when it comes to this shit. So even like the slightest thing like would freak me out, and then again, this thing has ghost children or ghost. Like that's like clowns,
the
ghosts.
The basement scene was pretty.
Oh
damn
my
scary.
god.
Yeah.
Ghost babies or ghost kids and killer clowns. That's like my worst nightmare right there. Like just fucking.
Asian ghost babies. Asian ghosts.
Oh, that's even worse.
kids
Yeah,
are
Asian ghost
really,
babies are
really
the fucking
freaky
worst.
looking.
That would have been the only way that this would have been any worse if he was standing down there Asian, like the kid from the youngest kid from Fresh Off the Boat. If he was down there in that makeup, I would have shit myself in the theater.
He's like the adopted Asian kid that gets killed,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh well."
Yeah.
And then he comes back. He's like, "Fuck you."
It's like a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Right? It's like, "Oh, you don't give a crap about me? I'm gonna haunt
yeah.
your shit."
But like I know you weren't too high on it, but
No.
I after watching the original and reading like almost half of the book, which is fucking long as hell. This movie was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time. That being said, that like in 2017, everybody was all about Get Out. I didn't find that scary.
I took it
at all.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth between having that number 10, and I was like, nah, I think I like Monster Calls better.
So was it even in your list anywhere?
No, because I don't know. Like there was a lot of hype for that movie, and I went and saw it. And while I did enjoy it. I wasn't like over the top. It wasn't scary. It wasn't as scary as I
but
had hoped.
that's you like being kind of desensitized from all the horror movies that you watch.
I watch way too many.
For me, it scared me. With minus the scares, they did a really good job adapting this to movie.
Well, if they would have added the girl, having teenage sex with everybody to get out of the caves, I probably would have had that a little bit higher. I'm like, oh shit, they went for it.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I didn't really think you guys were going to do that.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Because you can't actually
10
film.
minutes.
You can't actually legally film that scene. I think
No, not unless they're 18.
because
or older,
those kids, those are actually kids.
Yeah. That's the thing.
So-
It's like just thinking about that scene in the book. I'm like, how? Like I'm trying to picture the characters, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to jail if I think about that. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't
Now you
gonna-
can't
this
read
isn't-
that now because now you have kids in your
exactly
imagination.
that are that age too, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like that's just gross.
I want to
So,
know how it got past the editor, like of the actual novel. Like,
I don't know.
like wait, so Stephen, instead of just like running out or going back the way they came, the way that they're going to get out is all these 14-year-old kids are going to have a giant orgy.
Well, there's
They're
only
like-
one
they're
girl.
all-
There's only one girl too.
They're all going to just like what at the end bukkake her and just then the tunnel lights up. Like what the fuck?
There's only one girl
And-
too, and she's just like,
and then
oh my
Stephen
God.
King's like, yep, that's how they got to
Yep.
get out of the cave. And the editor's like, okay, let's print and
Well,
let's go to press.
This guy's made a lot of money so far on his books. I guess I
All
better
right,
do it.
it's Stephen fucking King. I'm going to defend this 14-year-old orgy.
Are you sure you didn't get hit by a bus before you wrote it?
Yeah,
Oh, God. That's terrible.
That's the only reason why that scene's in the book too. Like the editor literally couldn't say like, couldn't they have like brought flat like side flares, side road flares, and just like lit the way back the way they came, or somebody bring like a piece of chalk.
Glow stick. Yeah, anything.
Yeah,
anything.
glow sticks and just drop them down, or just like a shit ton of chalk. Remember that that 6 chalk holder that your teacher would use in elementary school because she didn't want to write it fucking 6 times,
You got
and she
the-
would just hold the cheating chalk, right? Because she wrote it one,
chalk.
right? And that's what they do. They run down the fucking tunnel and with their arm out, and then like. Write chalk all over the fucking tunnel so they know how to get
Yeah,
out.
but
And
then you
Stephen
have
King's
the-
like,
you have
and
the-
then Stephen King turns around and is like, nope, they have to all have fucking sex.
Yeah, the last kid is like erasing it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I got an idea.
And then Stevens was like, oh, like wiping it off, like I have right here in the pages of this book.
Yeah,
Like, can we
he's
take
like,
that out, please?
It's like, we gotta have sex. I'm sorry. Like the
Yeah, this is-
chalk's gone. It's weird.
There's no other like plot thing that you could do to think of other than 14-year-old orgy sex right now.
Yeah, that makes me wonder about Stephen King too. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's really fucked up.
If he said like, hey, I wrote this when I was 15, I'd be like, all right. But you're
But
an
still,
old
why did you
man.
have him a year younger? Yeah, he wrote it like well into his like what 30s
Yeah,
or 40s.
something like that. You sick old,
Well, it doesn't
sick
even
old
matter. Even
bastard.
if he was fucking, even if he was 21, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, you sicko. Sick bastard.
Fuck. Get it? I mean, they have GPSs now, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't think it was a modern tale though. Although I think part 2 will be modern.
Yeah, that'll be modern, but like still, like there's so many ways to like
To figure
there's
out how to
so-
get out.
Yeah. Like, I forget who thought of it in the book. It was one of the boys.
You sure it wasn't the girl that thought of it? Be like,
I
hey,
don't. Oh, maybe I don't remember.
remember.
It doesn't matter.
maybe she
Somebody
was just
said
she was just
it doesn't matter.
just
Somebody
wanted to have
suggested it. Somebody suggested it, and everybody went along with it. It doesn't matter who
We need to
suggested.
draw sticks to goes
Yeah.
first because the last
Because
guy's
I-
like great.
Yeah. It'd be like fucking a lotion bottle or something.
Gross.
So it's at number 5 for me.
Yep, and it's not. No orgy scene, so it's out of the top 10 list for me. So. Number 4, I have Logan.
Okay.
And that I really, really enjoyed. And not even just because it was like rated R, although that did definitely help.
Yeah.
Because watching Patrick Stewart say "fuck," and like
It was awesome.
argue with him was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that little girl was super amazing. And I was really hoping to get an X-23 movie, which I don't think it's going to happen now that Disney acquired Fox. But
Fuck.
yeah, I know. And there's so many good and bad things about that situation, which one of these days we'll, probably talk about it once more things come to fruition. But
We've already seen like a little crack in the Disney armor.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll see what happens with Infinity War.
yeah, absolutely. But
So you fucking spoiled my number one. So I have Logan at number one.
You have Logan at number one?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
So, and here's my
Holy
justification
shit.
for it.
Okay.
Looking at all these movies from beginning to end, did I have issues with anything? The only reason why I don't have Coco at number one is just because I had been through so many movies with Hugh Jackman, and this was his like final swan song,
Right.
and they finally fucking did it right.
Yeah.
Like finally did it right. This is the Logan that I've been waiting to see since I first saw him in Bryan Singer's first X-Men.
Oh, for sure.
And every time they promise like this is the Wolverine, you're gonna see it. You're gonna want every fucking time Hugh Jackman said it.
yeah.
Never fucking believed him. This time I fucking like this time he actually told the truth.
Right.
Like this is the Logan that I've wanted to see. So because I had been with, Logan's journey for so many movies,
2000.
And then
Year 2000.
yeah, to finally get this to be his swan song was I thought like a beautiful movie. Like this movie was so much. This was probably it is my number one movie of the year. This is my number one.
That's awesome. No, I love the movie. I just there was just other movies that I really gushed over more, I guess. But I actually do need to go back and watch Logan again because it's been, I think, since I went and saw it in the theater, so it's been a long time. But I just remember feeling just that sense in the theater, also going like, finally, like the whole time I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. And it just, the movie just kind of ebbs and flows. And then it's like the crescendo at the end. Really emotional shit too. Especially when she says daddy, at the end, I was like, oh my God, and I didn't mind like him dying. I didn't mind it. I was like, yeah, okay. That's his, he's, he did one last time, one last heroic thing. And it was just fucking cool.
So you had it number 4, right?
Yes.
All right. So my number 4 was Wonder Woman.
Okay, that's my number 3.
And the reason why I have it outside the top 3 is because of the ending.
Yeah.
My Logan and Coco for me had really great endings, which is why I had them both higher.
No, that's true.
Coco
That's
higher
true.
than Wonder Woman. The reason why Coco and Logan were both higher than Wonder Woman is just because I had like the top 4 for me, which one had the least issues and which one was like affected me the most when I was done watching the movie. Coco and Wonder Woman could have been like 3A and 3B in that aspect,
Right.
as far as the feelings I got during this movie. Wonder Woman was just, I just finally got to see a Wonder Woman movie. I finally got to see one. Coco was just a great movie from beginning to end. But again, Wonder Woman's outside of the top 3 because of the ending. I really didn't like that ending at all. But everything else outside of that, it was still a very good movie. You'll see when you hear my number 2, because you already know my number 1 and you already know my number 3, which is Coco.
Yeah, I'm really curious because if your number 2 is what it's between 2 movies that I have written down right now. So I'm pretty sure one of them's that, which means the other one's outside the top 10, which I'm very curious now to find out what it is. Because my number 2 and number 1, let's just go with. So I'll talk a little bit about Wonder Woman first. I agree with you. The ending was not good, but that No Man's Land scene, I just remember when I first saw that, and I've seen it a second time since then, and just how fucking awesome that No Man's Land scene is. And even like, my wife who doesn't like these comic book movies, she went with her girlfriend and saw it. And that's all we could talk about was that No Man's Land scene. I was like, yeah, it's great, right? Like,
Yeah.
pull that scene out. It's just fucking amazing. So yeah, I have that at number 3. I love Gal Gadot, love Patty Jenkins, love Chris Pine was amazing. I wish they didn't fucking kill him off because I would love to have seen.
Too.
I would love to have seen a Wonder Woman sequel with him in it. So that was a bummer. And then Ares just didn't do it for me. I thought it was a whole Zack Snyder thing at the end. Like they just okay, Patty, you did great. Now let me take over the ending so I can match this with my tone, that kind of bullshit,
Right.
which fucking irritated me, but just loved Wonder Woman. So
That was your number 3, you said, right?
that was my number 3.
Which was Coco for me.
Coco for you. So number 2, I have War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yep, that's mine.
Absolutely, I thought this was what a fucking great trilogy. I mean, I can't think of another except for maybe like the Born Identity trilogy. Although this one I think tops that. Um, what a great trilogy of movies this was, and I'm really fucking bummed that the third movie didn't get its due, because the first two did, and this one just kind of fell by the wayside, and I don't know why, because it was from top to bottom. It was a great story. It was like it was different than the other two. You know, it was like a journey. You
Right.
know, like Shrek and Donkey going on a journey somewhere. And I fucking loved it. And I've watched it I think 2 or 3 times since then, and I still every time I really like it. And I love the nods to the original movies. I
Yeah.
love all that stuff. I mean, the little Easter eggs and of course the visuals. Like by the third movie, that digital company has got it so down. You fuck it like 2 minutes in, you're like these are real people. You're not.
Yeah.
They're not. Oh, they're not fake. No, these are real. What are you talking about? I mean, and Andy Serkis should get a fucking Oscar. I'm sorry. Like the dude should get. I wish he would just get. They would just give him an Oscar. Like they really need to have a category for this shit. So anyway, I can't say enough about War of the Worlds. War of the Planet of the Apes. That was fantastic.
That's why I have it at number 2. I actually had this at number 1 before Logan. And then I switched it back and forth maybe 3 times. I just remember having minor issues with War for the Planet of the Apes than I did Logan. But I mean, you just pretty much nailed everything about War for the Planet of the Apes. I mean, this trilogy of movies is probably the best trilogy I've seen in a long time from beginning to end. There's nothing wrong with it. And I remember watching the first 2 movies before going to see this one and forgetting how amazing those movies actually are.
Yes.
And you're looking at a CG character the whole time. This trilogy is about Caesar. This entire trilogy
Yes.
is about Caesar and Caesar's journey. And he's basically like, the way that he went out, I would have loved that for Luke Skywalker, the way he went out.
Oh yeah. A very heroic.
Yeah. But I mean, there's not much more to say about this trilogy. It's so underrated. I cannot believe how good these movies are, and nobody really ever brings them up of how good they are.
Yeah, I don't know. And for all accounts, they shouldn't exist. I mean, when the first one was announced, I was like, why?
Yeah.
And
then you saw it, and you're like, holy shit, I want more.
Yeah, absolutely. And they keep giving you more, and they just kept getting better.
Yeah.
And you could still go back and watch the first one and still enjoy it just as much as the other two. So
It's so good though. It's so
Yeah.
the relation. The reason why these 3 movies work the best is it has nothing. The special effects help,
yeah,
but it's all about the character and the character development between the humans and the apes in these movies. The interactions between the characters in the movies is why you love these movies so much. I mean, it's good storytelling too, but like you just fall in love with Caesar the first time you meet him.
yeah. This
the
is
first movie.
these are the models that a lot of movies should look at. They should say, hey, yeah, I want to do a whole universe, but I want to focus on this movie and make it the best possible. And if it makes a ton of money and does well and people love it, then we'll go on to the next movie. I'm looking at you, DC. So
This is one of those movies that debunk the whole DC fanboy. My movie made a lot of money,
Right.
so therefore is good.
Right.
This movie did not make a lot of money.
No.
And it's fucking 100 times. It is. I'll say it. Most people won't like it, but this is by far a way better movie than Wonder Woman is, and it came out around the same time, I believe.
yeah.
This movie is fucking amazing.
That's funny. We don't even have Justice League anywhere near the top 10. It's like got shot out of a cannon.
I have it like kind of around the top 20, like number 20 somewhere.
You're like, and I watched 21 movies this year.
Actually, according to this, I watched 27, but I know I watched more than I didn't put on the list.
Right.
So what was your number 1?
Number 1, you want to take a guess?
John Wick 2.
No, but that would be pretty good. No, that just fell outside my top 10. Actually, that was like number 11 or 12 or something like that, if we were counting. Because I fucking love the John Wick thing. Shouldn't exist either. That movie's just fucking great. I mean,
Wait, so I have no idea what you're. Oh, Blade.
Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049 was my favorite movie of the year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I have it at like number 16 or something like that.
Fuck, man. I just love this movie so much. It just kind of really took me back to when I first watched the first Blade Runner, and they hit all the notes. And this filmmaker is just fucking incredible. I mean, because our favorite movie last year was Arrival. This is my favorite movie this year. I just visually stunning. Yeah, there was a lot of like quiet points or whatever in it, but it just kind of worked for me. I love Ryan Gosling in this movie. Every single person in the movie was awesome, with the exception of like maybe Jared Leto kind of irritated me a little bit because it's fucking Jared Leto trying to be weird, like Johnny Depp weird. So it'd be nice to like if he would have toned down that performance a little bit, but I don't know. I love the movie and I love the little nods and Harrison Ford actually kind of surprised me because he kind of puts in a performance that's, yeah, he's Deckard and everything, but he kind of like tones it down. He lets Ryan kind of take over, and Ryan as an android is fucking phenomenal because the way he acted as an android, like I kept thinking in my head, he's an android, and the way he acted throughout the whole movie just was awesome. And I mean, there was a couple scenes in it just kind of just blew me away, and one of them was like, and I've since seen the behind the scenes on it, but one of them was like, he had this like holographic girlfriend that was like a kind of a subplot, and like one day he comes home and she's like got an actual like woman there, or the woman shows up or something like that, like she was a hooker, a prostitute, and
right,
she kind of melds with her so she can like make love to him and stuff, and it was just fucking crazy. I was like, oh my god, like how do they do this?
That was a very weird yet beautiful scene.
Just it was pitch perfect. It was weird, but it was like pitch perfect. I was like,
there's a couple of those in The Shape of Water.
Yeah, see now
weird but beautiful scenes.
Now I can't wait to see that because I guarantee you, if I saw that probably would have been in the top. It probably would have knocked something out.
Yeah.
So
we have a not too vast, but the number one definitely is fucking really far off.
Really, really different. You've got Logan at number one. That's really surprising to me. I mean, I love that.
What were you gonna think? What would you have thought? I mean, yours makes sense when you said Blade Runner.
I thought War of the Planet of the Apes was going to be your number one because I remember how much we
like
gushed.
the first two lists.
You gushed so much about that movie, but then again, I did too. I mean, it's my number two. But I fucking love Blade Runner. I can't wait for that to come out on Blu-ray. I'm excited to watch that again. But
so a few surprises in here. I think my biggest surprise might have been like Jumanji.
Yeah, that's my that and Logan to me surprised me out of your list. I was like, wow,
really, for Logan, as good as Logan was?
No, I love Logan. The Jumanji thing. I was like, really, that's on your list? Like you just saw that? Like I guess.
Yeah, I know.
So it must be that good.
It hits. You ever like just go to a movie and it's in your genre.
Turn off your brain and just enjoy it.
Well, I try to. But like, it's just in your genre, whether it be like an action flick or a fantasy flick or sci-fi or whatever, right? But it's just something where you're like, it hits all the notes of like a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's got action. It's got good character development. It's got a decent story. The special effects are a little, pretty good. It's got quirks and comedy. It hit all those notes. And the movie is, probably as predictable as the first movie. But that's when you know a movie is good, when you can predict the ending. Mm-hmm. Like here's what, this isn't even a spoiler. All the main characters, because it's a family movie, none of them fucking die. Okay, so you already know that subconsciously going in, but you don't care because the character development and it makes you care for the characters, so you get sucked into the moment. That's when you know you got a good movie.
Awesome.
And so it's a fun movie. And Guardians and Jumanji are kind of the same, where they're both fun. Like I probably laughed harder in Guardians because of Drax,
right?
But Jumanji is still fun. So
awesome.
I think you'll like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the kids. I think the next couple of days we're gonna go watch that. So we just watched. They had never seen the first one, so we watched that this morning. They loved it. They were like, "Oh my god, how come we never seen this movie?" And I was like, "I don't know."
That was ahead of its time too.
I'm not doing my job, I guess. Yeah, it was 1995, so it was a long time. And they've both seen what is it, Zathura? Which I remember. When that movie came out, it was 2005. That movie came out. The only reason why I went and saw that was because Jon Favreau directed it. And I was like,
Right.
Yeah, so he just came off of Elf, and and was like, oh, this looks entertaining, and I'm like, but this fucking looks like Jumanji. And for the longest time, I think they were like denying. They were just like, oh no, it's a separate thing. But then the advertisements was literally saying like in the same world as Jumanji. Like people weren't fooled. They're like, well, this looks like Jumanji, or like the sequel to Jumanji. But they were like, no, this is a different thing. But then all of a sudden, boom, the advertisement was talking about Jumanjis in the same universe. So that's why I went and watched it. And I thoroughly enjoyed that movie too, but I think I liked Jumanji more. Because I think Zathura a lot of it takes place like in space. So it was really
we'll probably mention, we might not mention it again, but whenever you see it, we'll have to talk about it because there's something that happens in it is my only gripe in it. In the movie.
Well, maybe in our what do you call it? If we have another casserole episode pretty soon, I'd love to do Shape of Water and and Jumanji. So that'd be a good idea to do that. But we have some big stuff coming up, folks. This is our end of the year review, which is going to
this drops on Christmas.
Yeah, this drop on Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas to all of you, whoever's listening. And then the following week, we're going to have our most anticipated of 2018. So
what's going to be really funny? We'll know exactly who our diehard fucking fans are when I go back and look to see who actually listened to this episode. How many people actually listened to this episode on Christmas Day?
Oh, right,
right.
I
know I'm not going to listen to it on Christmas Day, and it's my show. So that goes to tell you, we got some diehard fans out there.
I'm going to be on the road, so I might listen to it.
Oh, there you go.
But anyway, so we have that. We got the first of the year. We have the most anticipated 2018, and then the week after that we have our annual that'll be our 2-year anniversary show, so that's going to be a biggie. Hopefully got some surprises or something going on in that. So anyway, or I totally lied and it's just going to be boring as shit. I don't know. It depends on us anyway. But so that was Chew on This Reviews 2017. This was episode 114 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
Till next time, folks, chew on that. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.